Hi, I'm Sue Look. I'm the town clerk and registrar for the town of Raymond. I've been here for 4 years now. My primary duties are that I oversee the elections, and that means that I prepare all of the paperwork prior to the election. I make sure that all the notices go out to the voters so that they know when the polls are, when they can register to vote, when they can absentee vote. I prepare all the materials that go with that. I train all the clerks that work the elections, and I also help train the warden for our election, who is Sue Carr, who's also our tax collector. I also am in charge of dog licensing. I'm the agent for IF&W, which is how you register your ATVs, boats, snowmobiles. I am the steward of all the town records, which means I keep track of all of the vital records, births, deaths, and marriages. And also the annual reports, the town meeting minutes, anything that's a permanent record for the town of Raymond. There's a lot of hats that we wear here in a town office. But to do all of these things, I need help. And the other 5 members of our front office staff, or 6 members I should say, are also my deputies. This is a small town, but it's a still very busy office, in particular because of the statute requirements that we have for getting things done that towns members don't really see, for meeting deadlines, for making sure that everything is done correctly, from registering cars to paying taxes to registering to vote, that there is a lot that has to happen. And to do that, one person can't possibly do it. I would be here 24/7 practically to do it all by myself, as would any of the other members here if we didn't have each other to back each other up. On the whole, we all can do all major functions in the town office. We have a really good staff here at the town office. We get comments from the public all the time of how friendly and accommodating we are, and that's something we really appreciate because we work very hard to do that. We have Rita Terrio, who is our Human Resources Director and Assistant, or Deputy Treasurer rather, but she's also a Deputy Clerk and Deputy Registrar. We also have Sue Carr, who is the Tax Collector, and she's also Deputy Treasurer, Deputy Clerk, and Deputy Registrar. And while all of these might seem a bit redundant, it's a legal technicality that someone who is not a Deputy Registrar or a Registrar cannot accept voter registration cards. Or deal with them at all. Someone who is not a tax collector or a deputy cannot take excise tax or any other taxes. So we all have to be able to do all transactions. We also have 2 part-time folks here. It's Cindy Davenport and Alice Hamilton, and they likewise are deputy for all of us. And then we have our treasurer and finance director, Kathy Ricker, who likewise is deputy everything else, so that in a pinch she does get to go to the counter and she helps us out as well, and that gives her the legal ability to do that.
My name is Kathy Ricker, and I'm the finance director here at the town of Raymond, and my job is really to be able to put the financial information together in financial statements in order to disseminate that information wherever it needs to go. So basically, I put the information from the accounting system into the form of financial statements for the Budget Finance Committee and also for the selectmen. So we do that on a monthly basis. Yearly, we provide financial statements to the auditor so that they can examine our books and records and give us an opinion on our financial reporting. Rita Terrio, she is my substitute. If I'm not here, she'll be able to do most of the functions, the day-to-day functions. There's a lot of day-to-day functions. I'm working on putting the bills together, getting them in the computer, producing the warrant. The warrant is just a list of the bills that vendors have presented to be paid, and that goes to the selectmen and they approve it. We collect taxes twice a year, every 6 months. For the most part, 95% of all our taxpayers pay by check, either by coming in here and going to the counter or by mail. The other 5% are coming in and paying in cash. We have a drop box outside that people can put. We would discourage them from putting cash in there. People will put their checks through the door, since we're only open to the public 4 days a week. So that's 3 other days where they can actually just drop it off and do that. You can use a credit card here at the office, and that is through the state of Maine, we're kind of piggybacked on their system. We also have a website with our bank, Androscoggin Savings, where a taxpayer can go and look up their bill and pay their real estate taxes online. And in that area, there's a couple different scenarios. They can either use it's called like an ACH check, which has a fee of $1. And then there's also, they can use any credit card they want through that. If your taxes are being paid through a mortgage company, we usually receive those in a lump sum, and there's something called CoreLogic who aggregates all that information. But we have a couple banks that aren't part of CoreLogic, so they'll send in a fax to Sue or an email to Sue saying, these are the customers that we have, give us how much they owe, and then several weeks or days later we'll get a check from them, and it will cover more than one taxpayer.
My name is Rita Terrio. I have been working for the town of Raymond for 14 years. I've worked up the ladder. I am now deputy treasurer and deputy clerk. Also, I am the human resource officer for the town. It's a payroll day, for example. I come in and do the payroll files to send off to the bank to get them ready for paychecks. The employees all enter their own time electronically, and then I gather all the data, put it together, make any corrections that might need to be made, or check their accruals and so forth, and send that off to the bank for approval. I also wait on the customers if need be. You know, I'm a backup to help them out if necessary. I help them with problems or issues that might come up. Now I'm part of human resources. I am responsible to put out the advertisements, and then I collect all the information. The resumes come to me, and I review them all. We put together a panel, you know, for different people to interview. And we narrow it down, and with Dawn's assistance, I choose the proper candidate, and then I usually am the one that calls them and invites them to come in, and then we discuss compensation. Dealing with the public is pretty easy for the most part. It's helpful if they bring in their paperwork. If they're prepared, they know the answers to the questions. They've registered cars before, so they know they need to know their mileage and have the insurance. If they bring in paperwork, it just makes it so much simpler for us, because then we can just enter the plate number and be done. I also research training opportunities for all the employees, and encourage them to attend all the classes from Maine Municipal Association, the Clerks Association, Tax and Treasurers Association. We feel that training is ongoing, and lifelong learning is important.
Hi, I'm Sue Carr. I'm the tax collector for the town of Raymond. I've been here for 11 years, worked up to be the tax collector. As the tax collector, we have to abide by the state laws. So the state law in Maine states that the owner of the property is determined as of April 1st. And the assessing department does all the entry of the people that own it, and they determine the tax rates. Then in September, I get the taxes, and it's called commitment, and that's the day I get the amount that I have to collect. Lots of times what happens, I've found, is they get their tax bill, they look at the amount and basically panic and say, I just can't deal with this. We're having enough financial problems, and they set it aside. I don't need to know exactly what's going on in your life, you know, just call, tell me you're having financial difficulties. I can look at how much you pay for taxes. We can kind of work with, you know, would this amount work if you sent me monthly amounts? It's a lot easier to make small payments and come out to the same amount as $1,000 if you make $200 payments a month, and you'll get to that $1,000. But it's hard to come up with that $1,000 sometimes. And sometimes it's the time of year, you know. April, I have found, is the tough time because everybody's doing their taxes. And so if you're paying, you know you're going to pay your taxes to the government, and then you have also your real estate taxes. It's overwhelming. So it's just plan ahead and say, okay, December, I know in April I'm going to have to pay, so maybe I'll send in small amounts to the town. I'll be caught up. I'll only have a small payment left over in April. And your tax bill, when it goes out, will show what you have left to pay. I do work at the counter, so I do registrations, anything that's done at the counter. So lots of times I'm back and forth from one desk to the other. I answer the phone because I've got mortgage companies calling me, title companies calling me, homeowners calling me, new address changes I have to do. So it's constantly back and forth from the counter.
My name's Alice Hamilton, and I've been here, it'll be 10 years in August. I came from working in town in Martins Point Healthcare. Customer service, always have been in customer service, and this kind of fit. I like it. A lot of people that we see, they just come in to register the car. We don't see them again till next year. They forget that they need to bring their insurance. They forget that they need to bring their mileage. It helps us tremendously if they bring in their current registration to re-register. So, you know, we understand that they don't do that every day. We see it every day. They don't. But it's those things, their paperwork that they could bring to us to help us find them in the system and to do the transaction quickly for them is what we want to do. I used to live in Raymond when I went to high school, and I moved away, and this is the first time I've been back since high school, and I know some of the history and layout of Raymond from living here previously, but there's a lot of general information that is asked about. We've had, for example, we've had 2 calls within the last day about a hiking trail on Rattlesnake Mountain, about the sign. I don't know. So, but now I do, because I've had the question, and I know that I have to have that information, that there's a problem there, and they call us to get the answers for many things. It's fun to find out about those things and have that information, and I feel bad when I don't have it, you know, and everybody around, we try to all communicate with each other. Did you know that this is happening? And this is the person that handles renting the tennis courts down on Mill Street or something like that. Just things you would never think of that the town really isn't involved in, but we get asked the questions about it. And we have to have that, or we try to have it. It depends on the day. Today's kind of quiet in the office, so I'm doing some work for the town clerk. She's given me a list of the voter registrations, and I'm going through it to see if there's any duplications. I have waited on people today, registrations, re-registrations, new registrations. It's tax time, so people are coming in paying taxes. Just anything that, not a month or so ago it was dogs. Everybody was registering their dog. So this is tax season. Next season, the next season that will probably get busy is boat season, fishing, all of that. So it depends on the season and the day. I just want to say that part of the process of working here are the people that you work with. And if I didn't have these people that I work with, I probably wouldn't be here, because it makes such a big difference. We're a good team.
My name is Cynthia Davenport. I've worked for the town of Raymond for 2.5 years. I come to Raymond via Vermont, which I lived my whole life in. and came here basically because I have children nearby and we want to live closer to them. I work the counter at the town office here, and all of us deputy clerks are cross-trained in everything. We do car registrations, boat registrations, fishing licenses, birth certificates, marriage certificates. We all know how to do it and are very efficient at doing it. I also have a couple of special projects that I do. I maintain the inland fisheries daily transactions. I input that all into a spreadsheet, and at the end of the month we tally everything up and send a check off to them and notify them of all the transactions we've had. My other primary responsibility has been a project on the voter registration list. We maintain cards for every registered voter in Raymond, so I take those cards and I cross-check them with the CVR, which is the statewide voter registration list, and update the information, correct whatever needs doing. So I've enjoyed meeting people from Raymond, and being new in the town, it's been nice to meet people and know your neighbors, such as the other day I had a lady come in that was celebrating her 94th birthday, and she was happy to tell me about that, and it was fun to hear it. So it's fun to hear people's little snippets of people's lives and get to know them a little bit. So I enjoy that.
As you can see from the partial list of responsibilities that I have, as well as the responsibilities that the rest of the staff have, there is a lot of detail that we can't possibly go into in a short video about what our town office does. And in the future, we plan on doing some smaller, more focused videos of, for instance, how you would register to vote, what you need to bring in if you're registering a car or licensing a car. There are a lot of other pieces that we can do and go into much more depth, but we really can't in this small video. If you have any questions or would like to give us any feedback on any of the things you're hearing about now, by all means, either call the town office at 655-4742 or give me an email at sue.look@raymondmaine.org.